They told me I had too many cars in my own driveway and slapped me with daily fines. Here's how it all went down. Between me and my spouse, we own 2 regular cars. On top of that, I have an older classic car I've been restoring. That's 3 cars in total, all parked neatly in my own driveway. None were on the street, none were blocking sidewalks, and none were broken down or covered in weeds. Just clean, functional cars on my own property. But one morning, I found a violation letter from the HOA stuffed in my mailbox. Notice of violation. Driveway vehicle limit exceeded. You are allowed no more than 2 cars visible at one time. Fine. $100 per day until resolved. I couldn't believe it. A vehicle limit? Since when does the HOA get to tell me how many cars I can own? So I pulled out the bylaws. I read through every line. Sure enough, the only rule about vehicles was that they couldn't be inoperable, abandoned, or parked on the lawn. Nowhere did it say anything about how many cars you could park in your own driveway. I called the HOA office to clear things up. This has to be a mistake. There's no rule against 3 cars in the driveway. Their response? Too many cars make the neighborhood look cluttered. You'll need to move one into storage or face the fines. I refused. I wasn't going to pay rent for a storage unit just to park a car I already owned, especially when it was on my own property, so the fines kept coming. First $100, then $200, then threats of liens on my house if I didn't comply. That's when I started documenting everything. I took photos of my driveway showing 3 clean, operable cars. I also walked the neighborhood and snapped photos of other homes, several with 3 or more cars in their driveways. If the HOA wanted to enforce this so-called rule, they weren't doing it equally. At the next HOA meeting, I showed up with my evidence. I laid it all out, the bylaws, my photos, and proof of selective enforcement. I asked them flat out, show me the rule that says I can park 3 cars in my own driveway. They couldn't, because it didn't exist. Instead, the president muttered something about neighborhood aesthetics. But the neighbors in the room weren't buying it. Some even stood up and admitted they'd been harassed over cars, too. Still, the HOA refused to back down. So I went bigger. I contacted the local news. Within a week, the headline ran, HOA Fines Resident for Owning Too Many Cars. The story spread like wildfire. Cameras filmed my 3 cars sitting neatly in the driveway. The violation letters were shown on screen. And public reaction, brutal. Comments poured in, 3 cars? That's normal. This HOA is insane. So now it's a crime to own a hobby car? They're just making up rules to fine people. Neighbors rallied too. Many signed a petition demanding the HOA stop harassing residents over vehicles. Suddenly, the board was under fire. By the next meeting, the pressure was too much. The fines were dropped, the violation erased, and the HOA admitted they had no enforceable rule to back it up. My classic car stayed right where it was, in my driveway, shining in the sun. And every time I see it, I remember. Sometimes you have to stand up to pettiness, or it never stops. This story proves one thing. HOAs often try to invent rules they can't enforce. But if you know the bylaws, gather evidence, and push back, you can win. So tell me, would you fight your HOA if they fined you for parking too many cars in your own driveway? Drop your answer in the comments below.